Is Be Minimalist coming for The Ordinary? Is this brand like The Ordinary of India? And what are the differences or the similarities between these two brands? Today we're going to break it down because the backstory behind these and the product offerings are quite interesting. The Ordinary has been one of my favorite brands for years, and I've always loved them for their inexpensive, effective formulas that are very scientific in nature. They have names like niacinamide plus zinc instead of pore refining serum. But 2 years after The Ordinary launched in 2020, a new brand entered the market called Be Minimalist. And this was created in India for the Indian market. But slowly it's been taking over both regionally, nationally, and now internationally. And a lot of people have questions about how these brands stack up. I want to explain my experience with both. What are the similarities? What are the differences? And is Be Minimalist replacing The Ordinary in many people's routines? Seeing as The Ordinary did not used to be available in India, was this the saving grace? But now that The Ordinary is available in India, and now that Be Minimalist is available in America, what does that mean for consumers who are trying to buy effective, inexpensive skincare? Well, baby, do I have the answers for you. Let's start out with how these brands actually came to be. A lot of people don't know the history behind The Ordinary and Deciem, specifically about the late Brandon Truax, who passed away a few years ago. Brandon Truax was born in Iran, but he ended up studying computer science at the University of Waterloo. While he was there, he decided to start founding a few companies, and a lot of people don't know that some of them actually failed and flopped. We're talking nutraceuticals and supplements, and yes, other skincare brands. But in 2012, Brandon Truax created Deciem. We know them because of Niod and the chemistry brand, and yes, The Ordinary. What was interesting about Deciem was that when it was launched in 2012, Brandon Truax decided to create 12 brands in one day. Basically, launched them all on the exact same day, which was really unheard of. There was Inhibitif, there was the chemistry brand, there was Grow Gorgeous, there was Niod, and yes, The Ordinary. Now, all of these companies were unique because instead of just having a brand where they sourced products and materials from external places and manufactured them and packaged them separately, Brandon created a system where he had an in-house laboratory, in-house manufacturing, in-house packaging, in-house e-commerce, which is why when they launched The Ordinary with 27 different products, they were able to do them at such inexpensive prices. And when you look at The Ordinary, a lot of the products are very, very basic. There are things like retinol and squalane or an AHA/BHA peel. There aren't these stacked or layered ingredients. And because nobody else was doing that at the time, if you searched for any of these ingredients online, these were the only products that were packaged that way. So they ended up doing really well when it comes to SEO, search engine optimization, and being able to be sold online. The entire reason that Brandon decided to start The Ordinary was to democratize skincare. The idea that products should be easily accessible and understandable at inexpensive prices that are affordable. He also had a little bit of beef with Drunk Elephant. Specifically, they sell marula oil at a very high price, and he knew where they were sourcing it from. So he bought the same stuff and sold it for $8 instead of closer to $80, and really spoke out about animal rights, among other things. Now, Brandon unfortunately did seem to struggle with mental health, and there were a few things on social media that happened that really put that into the public and into the forefront, which brought things into question. Estee Lauder did purchase about a third of the company as an investor, and when that started to happen, there were some discrepancies between how Brandon was running things and how investors and stakeholders thought the company should be run. Unfortunately, Brandon was voted out of his own company, and over time, a few other things happened, and unfortunately, he did pass away in 2019. Some say it was an accident, some say it was purposeful, some say it was malicious, but the truth is that we don't have those answers. And unfortunately, the world lost an amazing innovator who not only created this brand, but many others, and really helped bring sustainable, science-focused skincare to the forefront. These are still some of my favorite products today, and if I'm ever looking for a one ingredient thing that I can mix in with others or that I can just really easily isolate and layer in a routine, The Ordinary is where I go to get it. Now, how is that different from Be Minimalist? You see, when The Ordinary started in 2018, Be Minimalist started in 2020, in the middle of the pandemic. Because you see, The Ordinary was taking off online, People saw its success, but unfortunately it wasn't available in every country, specifically in India. However, there were two brothers in India at the time that saw that the Indian market needed skincare that was transparent. When I visited India in 2016 and 2018 and a few other times, when I would go into the drugstores, it was very, very hard to find good skincare. You could find some brands like L'Oreal that you would recognize, some were just straight up questionable, and then every now and then you could find a good gem. But you would either have to go to a local chemist, aka, kind of like a drugstore, or you would have to go to like a large mall and shop for skincare in a Sephora or one of those freestanding body shop stores. And unfortunately, historically in India, there has been an issue when it comes to product transparency. This isn't over every brand, this isn't over every line, and it's definitely a huge generalization, but there has been a concern with certain products being adulterated or not having the ingredients that they list on the label. This is an issue in every country, it's not exclusive to India, but some people in India got really frustrated by this, and the amount of counterfeit products in India or in other countries is sometimes higher than that of others like the United States. And two brothers in India saw this and they said, we need skincare that is effective, that is inexpensive, and that is overall transparent. People deserve to know what is in their products, how they work, and to be able to trust what's actually on those labels. And so two brothers decided to do something about it. These brothers specifically had very interesting backgrounds. One was a chemical engineer who actually understood ingredients and manufacturing, and the other had a business background when it came to finance and e-commerce and marketing. So when they started to work together, it was really this perfect blend of one person who understood the financial, the business, and the e-commerce space, and another who understood the science and the chemistry behind products. And that's how Be Minimalist was created. And in 2020, when Be Minimalist was created, it was the only brand in India that was this inexpensive with these types of actives labeled as transparently as they were. Again, if you even just look at some of these videos from vlogs that I shot while I was in India, you can see that a lot of these products don't have things labeled super clearly. They're not telling you things like pH, and while some of these are totally reputable, there are some concerns about some brands not actually being accurate to the label, and Be Minimalist decided to change that. Well, since then, something interesting has happened. First off, The Ordinary is now available in India, and Be Minimalist is now available internationally, both on Amazon, Walmart, and in other stores. The other interesting thing is that The Ordinary is now sold in Sephora and Ulta, and Be Minimalist has their over-the-counter products for purchase, but they also have clinical lines, meaning these are actually sold by and with dermatologists and doctors and skincare experts in India, which is something that The Ordinary doesn't do. But the question becomes, is Be Minimalist replacing The Ordinary, or is The Ordinary infringing on Be Minimalist's stake in India? In order to understand that, we have to talk about the products in the line. The Ordinary, while they are great with their serums, I really don't like their array of cleansers, and they really only have one sunscreen. They also have color cosmetics. Be Minimalist is very different. They do have a sunscreen, but they actually have multiple cleansers. Their serums are great, and as far as I know, they don't have any color cosmetics. The price points are actually very similar. Most of The Ordinary's products on the low end are like $5 for the natural moisturizing factors, up to about $30 for their copper and peptide serum. Be Minimalist usually ranges around $5 to $7, but some products are up to $15. And of course, these are sold in Indian rupees in India, and then if you are getting them on Amazon or somewhere internationally, there may be price differences just based on that currency exchange. But when it comes to the actual products and how they compare, there are some stark differences. For example, The Ordinary has one of my favorite AHA BHA peeling solutions. I love this because it makes me look like a bloody person, it makes me look like a vampire, I adore it, and it exfoliates the out of my face. Well, Be Minimalist has this AHA BHA PHA peel with a little bit of turmeric. This one's actually a bit more brightening. It's better for hyperpigmentation, whereas this is an exfoliation balm. And that also gets into the differences that Be Minimalist has. You see, because there are so many people in India who struggle with acne, the majority of people in India struggle more with hyperpigmentation based on Fitzpatrick levels than someone in Canada, which is where The Ordinary was founded. Be Minimalist really focuses on products that are pigmentation-prone skin friendly. People who are prone to hyperpigmentation, those little marks that are left behind, these products really lend themselves well to that, meaning that they are gentle but effective on skin and really made for people with those skin concerns in mind. Whereas The Ordinary, yes, they have some options for hyperpigmentation, and they have a couple products that are targeted towards it, but I wouldn't say that most of the products from the line are hyperpigmentation friendly or lend themselves well to it. The other thing is that The Ordinary was really built on these single ingredient products at a affordable prices. Be Minimalist is built on affordable prices, but they actually don't focus on the single ingredient skincare. Yes, the packaging is similar, but a lot of Be Minimalist's products are stacked. For instance, when you look at their array of cleansers, they have this LHA cleanser that involves multiple ingredients that I think is way better than the ordinary squalane. Even when you look at their serums, they're combining and layering different ingredients, whereas most of the ordinary's serums are 1 or 2 ingredients, like the hyaluronic acid in B5, or like the Buffet Peptide Serum, which, fun fact, was actually recently renamed. Be Minimalist also has a better array of moisturizers. They specifically have the vitamin B5, they have the Cepicom, they have the ceramide ones, and I actually haven't seen great ceramide products from The Ordinary. I hope those are coming, but I haven't seen them yet. And while these two brands are very similar, I honestly thought that Be Minimalist was just India's version of The Ordinary, but as I started playing around and testing them more and more, I do feel that these are very different brands that really stand on their own. And I think knowing how they started is so important to that, because again, in India, there are people with specific skin concerns, especially those around pigmentation, and the need for transparent skincare that really didn't exist to this extent before. Whereas in Canada, when Brandon Truax founded The Ordinary, it was about democratizing skincare. Inexpensive options that were just single ingredient labeled, really built on his background of studying everything from computer science to failed skincare lines to building this next empire of a cosmetic industry. I don't feel like you have to choose one or the other, but I will say there are definitely some Ordinary products that I like better than Be Minimalists, and there are some Be Minimalist products that I like better than the Ordinaries, again, specifically around the cleansers and the sunscreens. And depending on what your skin type is, depending on what you're looking for, and depending on the affordability and the accessibility, you'll probably be able to find something that's right for you. Again, I love and adore The Ordinary, but I will say I can't find everything I need from that line, especially when it comes to cleansers. And Be Minimalist, I haven't tried every single product from the line. I haven't tried the toner yet, but I've tried quite a few of the products and definitely swatched a lot of them. And I will say, while I love a ton of them, there are a few products that end up a little bit too sticky for me, or that just aren't perfect. And while they're great with acne and pigmentation, there are a couple areas, specifically around redness or anti-aging, that I wish they would improve upon, such as getting an azelaic acid in there. The Ordinary has a great azelaic acid, Be Minimalist doesn't. It is interesting to see and watch both of these brands evolve, and I wonder if, as they both increase their product availability, if we're going to see them converge more and more. But the way I see it after actually testing them is that these are two separate brands, and you can work either of them or both of them into a routine. Now, when it comes to putting some of these neck and neck, such as testing these out side by side, I am going to be doing that, maybe on myself, but maybe on someone else as well, if I can get a volunteer. But overall, I will be keeping you updated, and if you have specific questions about products from one brand versus the other, or certain ones that you want me to put neck and neck, let me know so that I can buy and try them so that you don't have to. Overall, I do believe in inexpensive, effective skincare that is vegan and cruelty-free and literally built on transparency first. That is something that when I was growing up struggling with acne, it was missing from the market. And I wished so much that I would have something like this that actually got me interested in chemistry and biology and STEM as a young girl. I feel like both of these brands are doing that, just in different ways. And I'm very interested to see what comes next. Overall, do remember to stay hydrated, both orally and topically. Always remember to reapply that sunscreen. Again, right now I like Be Minimalists better than The Ordinary, but The Ordinary might be launching a new one. Fingers crossed. I don't know. I've got my notifications turned on. And overall, remember to be beautiful both inside and out. I love you, and I cannot wait to see you in this next video. Love you guys. Bye.